Well, hello there. Yeah, you over there. How you feeling today? Forgive me if this is out of line, but you don't seem like yourself. You seem like a different person when you're hungry. Need a Snickers? Remember those awful commercials? I guess they weren't that awful, but they were Snickers commercials, and the whole campaign was "You're not you when you're hungry." Like you literally become a different person, and they were actually pretty funny. Some of them. I'm using that now for my video because you know what? There is some truth to that. You're really not you when you're hungry. Although I don't know that eating a candy bar is the best way to feel better. Actually, you know what? What am I saying? Of course it is. Of course eating a candy bar is the way to feel better. And that's what we're gonna do today, all right? And since the world's on fire and it's easier than going to the store, which actually isn't as simple as it once used to be, we're gonna make our own Snickers bar, okay? You don't need to wait in line. You don't need to drive your car. You don't need to park. Whatever it is, let's just do it here. I've always wanted to make my own candy bar because, well, I love candy and I like making things. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I know that there's a lot of different ways to make a Snickers bar. I've actually looked at a few recipes, and there's a few different recipes that require ingredients that I kind of just didn't really care for. But I saw this recipe and I liked it. I just, something about it. I don't know what it was. I just felt it, you know what I mean? So I thought, let's make our own Snickers bars. They might be maybe a little bit healthier than you would find in the store, but I'm not here to make something unhealthy and delicious, healthy and undelicious, okay? I still wanna be unhealthy. I still would prefer to regret my decision of eating all of them later, and I want it, most of all, to taste dang good. So today, we make Snickers bars. For this recipe, you're gonna need some stuff, because you can't just make a recipe with nothing. You're gonna need some cashews, some peanuts, chocolate. You're gonna need an interesting ingredient called cacao butter, which I've never seen. It almost looks like white chocolate. So you're gonna need that. That is gonna help us make the nougat that we need. You're also gonna need peanut butter, dates, and not just any dates, okay? Extra fancy dates. Why does it say extra fancy? Is that an FDA approved term? Fancy, extra fancy? Hi, yes, I'd love a side of dates, please. If they're not extra fancy, I send them back. Weirdest label of any food I've ever seen, but if you don't have extra fancy dates, well, what can I say? Your Snickers bar is just gonna be a little bit less fancy than mine, so just come to terms with that, if you will. You'll need a little vanilla extract and some maple syrup as well, but this recipe is very much about making layers, right? Because if you cut a Snickers bar open, it's not just one thing mixed together. There's a layer of nougat, there's a layer of caramel, there's a layer of nuts, and then of course there is a coating of chocolate. So the goal here is to meticulously recreate each layer like a scientist without a degree. I don't know how he got hired, but he's here and he's doing science, and he is me. So let's do it. All right, so here we have our food processor. Hello, food processor, how are you? Bad? Okay. Well, we were gonna have a Snickers soon. You'll feel better, I promise. So for our food processor, we are first going to make the layer of nougat, okay? And so we're gonna use this to process some ingredients together to create that layer. And once that layer has been created, we are gonna have our pan ready with some parchment paper or non-stick surface. So do you see how I cut the corners of these? I'm not gonna lie, this took me like 10 minutes to just line this because I saw a picture of someone who did it and they cut the corners off to make it fit better. It fits perfectly, but deceptively difficult. It felt like for a moment I was doing origami, but we made it here, all right? Started from the bottom, and now we're here. So you're gonna wanna have, I believe, 2/3 of a cup of soaked cashews. I didn't soak them. Maybe I should have, because we're not using a high-powered blender. Okay, I'm gonna soak these real quick, uncut. I have the soaked cashews. They've been sitting in super, super hot water for an amount of time. Anyway, let's get cracking on this nougat. Oh, Jesus, okay. Pop the cashews in there. And then next we are gonna pour our maple syrup, which is, I think is 4 tablespoons, and some vanilla extract. And last, but probably most important, is the cocoa butter or the cacao butter, which is this right here. something I didn't even know really was a thing until I researched this recipe. But this is really what I think is gonna give it its nougat consistency and flavor. And now we pop it on and we let it rip. I think I'm gonna need to help it out, clean up the sides a little bit. This looks bizarre. I wonder how this is actually gonna turn into something smooth, but let it roll. Yeah, I'm hoping this works out. I'm used to using the Vitamix, obviously. So this might take a little more work, but I got time. I got time here. All right, it's still kind of chunky. It could be because I didn't soak the cashews for long enough, or because we need to add a little bit more of our mapleyest syrup. So I'm gonna do about another tablespoon, because I do think that the consistency of it could use a little bit of like liquid. We will see, we will see. It's definitely helping, yeah. The syrup is definitely helping. Oh, that tastes really good. Also, you'll notice I decided on a smaller pan, so I had to recut and do a whole nother art project, which is fun. Art is fun. Ooh, it's definitely, dude, it's getting smooth. It's looking like the Pinterest post, dude. I think this is gonna be Pinterest certified when we're done. Stir it around just a little bit. Okay, well inside here it looks completely smooth, and I'm obeying probably one of my favorite recipe wordings I've ever seen of all Pinterest I've looked at in my life. It says whiz until completely smooth. I whizzed it. Like, I've never heard that term. Where does that come from? Why don't I say whiz instead of blend? Whiz is so much more fun. Also, if it sounds like there's a stampede above me, it's because the large greyhound is on the second floor of my house right now. You know, she's my dog, but she's just up there now. Now it's time to layer this onto our baking sheet / pan. The greyhound has entered the first floor. Hi, hi, what are you doing? Greyhound, you wanna come over here? I hear you upstairs running around. I'm making Snickers. Do you know what Snickers is? Do you know what Snickers is? Do you know? Do you want Snickers? You cannot have it. It has chocolate. Not for you. Not for you, big greyhound. Okay, andale. Okay, now we spread the nougat. So we're gonna pour this into our baking pan, create an even layer, just kind of like brush it down with our spoon so it's not like lumpy. We want it to be flat. And then we're gonna chuck it in the freezer, and then it's on to the caramel. Okay, well, our nougat is sitting in the freezer firming up. It'll be there for maybe 10-15 minutes while we make our caramel. By the way, a few weeks ago, we just threw a bunch of ingredients into a mug. Nougat. This week, we threw a bunch of ingredients into a food processor. Nougat. I'll go now. We are now gonna add, I rinsed this out, we're gonna add our dates. Extra fancy, the fanciest. But we're not gonna just toss them in like that, because apparently they have pits in them. So we're gonna fish around to grab these pits. There's the first one. And you're gonna eat all of the pits whole. No, don't do that. That's a bad idea. Might get sick, might die. You're just gonna squeeze them so the pit like pops out. Your hands will be very sticky after this process, but it will be worth it. I think dates are one of the coolest foods that people bake with because it is truly just like a natural sweetener. I think 6 total dates is what I'm using. This is gonna add a lot of sweetness and a good amount of texture. Oh, I almost threw that in there. To our Snickers. Let me go wash my hands. All right, now we are gonna add our maple syrup. We're gonna do 3 more tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. I think that's about right. We're gonna add a nice chunk of smooth peanut butter. You do want it to be a smooth peanut butter. Even if you're a fan of chunky peanut butter, I don't want to fight you on this debate. I know it gets really heated, okay? You can have your chunky peanut butter, but this recipe, we already have the chunks, okay? There's gonna be chunks of peanut. You don't need more chunks in it. And if you have a dog sitting around, come here, dog. Come here. You can have them lick the spoon / your finger. He's gonna try to eat your finger because he is absolutely nasty and feral. Then you're gonna do a little pinch of sea salt. I think the sea salt is fairly important in this recipe, so definitely don't forget that. And try to get it all on the base level of the food processor so that it gets blended equally. And now you know the drill, okay? We're just gonna blend this up too, and I'm not gonna make you listen to it, all right? So in a second, this will all be blended, and we will have our nougat come on out of the freezer. It should be firm by then, and then we'll layer it on top with this. But first we blend. Let us mix. Okay, so here we have homemade freaking caramel, which I think is a very cool thing that has happened. I never thought I would make caramel. I also never thought it would be with peanut butter, dates, and maple syrup, but here we are, dude. It looks really good. Come on, that looks like caramel right there. It looks like it. I haven't tasted it yet, but while it's in a nice consistency, because I don't know if it's gonna start to settle, I'm gonna put it on the layer of cooled and firmed up nougat to be our second layer of the Snickers bar. So here we go. All right, beautiful. Touchdown. Now we need a spread. These are gonna be nice and stubby little thick Snickers bar. Nice and stubby, nice and thick. And I'm just sort of spatula-ing the layer down because this is not the last part of this step. We are now, once this is done, we are going to be covering our caramel, band name called it, with our roasted salted peanuts. So this is what's gonna give our Snickers bar that good old Snickers crunch, okay? So we basically just wanna cover the whole surface. And we are almost done. There are pretty much no spots of empty caramel left. It all looks pretty nice and flat. I'm so excited, dude. I love me some Snickers, and I can't believe how well this is going. Nothing has gone wrong, and that is not jinxing it, I promise. I promise that is not jinxing it. Well, here we are. This is a layer of nougat, underneath a layer of caramel, underneath a layer of roasted peanuts. We're almost there, baby. We are almost there. We are almost at the point of becoming ourselves again. Because remember, this whole time, we're not us when we're hungry. This whole video is just me mocking an ad campaign from like 10 years ago. So this needs to go in the freezer for about an hour. So we're all gonna take a break, a nice breather, all right? Up. I'm gonna feed this hungry animal who is bothering me for dinner at 4:15 p.m. because it's her world, we're just living in it. See you guys in an hour. All right, so we are down to just about 10 minutes until our bars are ready to come out of the freezer and join us, and we will chop them up from one big brick into, I think, 6 homemade Snickers bars. But before we do that, we need to get our chocolate nice and melted. I unfortunately do not have tempered glass that is double boiler safe. So I'm gonna be using a metal bowl with this glove because metal doesn't shatter. And this is at a good boil here. So I'm just going to gently set this down and just try to stir it. Oh, it's already melting. Wow, this is crazy. Okay, so I think the idea with this is just every few seconds, give it a nice stir. It's literally already almost melted. This is a crazy technique. I've always been scared to do this, but if you have the right equipment, it's safe. It's just kind of wild. So I guess one important part of this technique is not allowing any moisture into the bowl because the moisture is going to make the chocolate clump and you want it to be silky smooth. Silky smooth. Yeah, we're almost done. It's already almost completely silky smooth. Look at us, dude. Look at us. We're advanced chefs over here. Nice work, you guys. Well done. This looks perfectly, and I mean perfectly, silky smooth. Okay, that's what we're talking about, baby. That is what we are talking about. This is the best. Oh my gosh, this is nuts. All right, so I'm actually just gonna move this back here. We can move our hot pot. And how much time left? 3 minutes. Let's go for it. It is go time. We have our beautiful, almost Snickers bars ready to be chocolate-ified. We're just gonna try to break off this parchment paper so that we have one standalone brick of mood-changing goodness. Look at this. This is nuts. Get it? Okay, we gotta move quick. Enough nonsense. So this is supposed to be divided into 6 bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh baby, this is what we're talking about. So let's transfer them over to a rack right here so that the chocolate, when we drizzle it, doesn't get everywhere and it can properly coat our entire Snickers bar. All right, so I'm pretty sure time is of the essence here. So I am going to, that's still pretty hot. We need a glove. And we're gonna drizzle now. So here we go. Time to make a Snickers bar. All right, well, this truly looks like a thing of beauty. And now it is time to let them chill out and harden up so the chocolate can melt and firm on top of our Snickers bars. But I mean, what we just created looks pretty damn spectacular. Now we just throw them in the freezer until we feel like they're firm and hard enough to be a Snickers bar, and we eat. Finally, we eat. It's been so long. I'm ready to feel like myself again. All right, let's freeze them. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. Yo, look at what we made with our hands. A little bit of elbow grease goes a long way. What is elbow grease? Where do you buy that? Do you think they sell it at like the hardware store? Just rub a little on there. We made Snickers. So let's bust one open and try it. I don't know. This is a Snickers bar. I broke it in half and I'm gonna try a bite of it because I can, and we made it. Call it off, we're done. We did it, we won. There's no recipe we can make that's better than this. It's over. That's game, everybody. Goodbye, everybody go home. It tastes exactly like I remember Snickers tasting. It has the nougat base, the crunch of the peanuts, the caramel turned out amazing, and the chocolate on top. It tastes exactly like I remember a Snickers tasting. 0 complaints. It's a little messy. There's a lot of steps to it. There's a lot of waiting, but I can't even tell you, it's 10 times over worth it. Whoa, I'm Julian again. I'm so glad to be me again, because I'm not like myself when I'm hungry. Because I just ate a bite of a candy bar, I'm not hungry anymore. I want to eat all of these. We made a Snickers from plants. How and what? I don't know, man. One of those recipes where it just feels like, is it gonna work out? I don't know, maybe. And then it does, and the flavors just, I'm telling you, man, like it's something about these specific flavors and the texture all in one bite, really just tasting only like a Snickers bar. And I'm so happy we did it. I got nothing else to say, man. If you didn't already, along with me, I suggest going to make this. It's a little time intensive, a little work intensive, but you will have Snickers bars that you made with your own hands for dessert for the entire week or afternoon, depending on what your plans are. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you watching me do this and go through this experience. Overall, 10 out of 10. 100 out of 10, not allowed. Definitely make it. I'll give you one bite and then I'm out of here, okay? You can have one bite. Take a bite. All right, enough. Mine now.